If you're tired of the standard business and marketing fundamentals, frameworks, and funnels, you need a little mischief. Get ready to turn up the volume on the CEO Mischief Maker podcast, where you access conversations with seasoned business owners who have smashed through mindset barriers, innovated the standard boring business and marketing playbooks, and executed future-paced strategies with bleeding-edge tools and tactics to micro-fail their way into massive success and growth. We are Mindset Impact Strategic Catalysts helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. We are CEO Mischief Makers. Ready to make a little mischief? Okay, if you've been listening to my conversation with Rees of ZeroWork, then you know I am all in on this new software building platform, no-code software building platform. And I invite you to be all in with me because SaaS is software as a service, but this is a different kind of SaaS. This allows you to create actual software that accomplishes tasks that will not require you to service or customize the software. This is insanely futuristic, and I invite you to join us. Go to app.zerowork.io. I'm working on it today. I encourage you to work on it with me and join me at app.zerowork.io. You will want to because we're actually launching on AppSumo. You ready? You ready for this SaaS rocket ship? Because I am. I've already got 3 taskbots built. I've got 2 more in the works. This is the thing, my friends. I so hope you join me. app.zerowork.io and look out on AppSumo. See you soon. Hey, welcome back, CEO Mischief Makers, to my conversation with Rees of ZeroWork. So we were talking, if you haven't listened to Monday's episode, I highly recommend you do, especially if you are at all interested in transitioning from the consulting or agency space into more of a product SaaS space. That conversation, I think, is going to really set you up for the first steps you need to take to be able to create success. So, Diana, you started talking on Monday about innovation and how you innovate things. Take that, if you will, and take ZeroWork itself if you want, or anything else that you've done. And how do you take a standard SaaS model, which is build a technology, offer it to users, iterate it as you go along, and then sell it to end users or subscribers? How have you taken that standard framework, blueprint, and innovated it with your previous experience to create what you're using right now to create ZeroWork?
Yeah, that's a great question because indeed, this is the blueprint that is, as you describe, MK, this is exactly the blueprint for SaaS, right? So you create a software. It's not as in consultant, when you consult, you want to go for sort of like high ticket projects, but which are also, of course, low volume, because you have a kind of high touch sales process. Now, if you offer SaaS, it's more of a kind of, you have a lot of self-service. You have a self-service sales process. So people just subscribe. Sure, you need to provide great demo, good explanation, but it's not a high touch process, right? So this is a very standard process. Billions of people in some ways interact with this process. But what I noticed is that there is sort of a gap, or that was my process of thinking. So when I look at it, on the one hand, you see a lot of, you see that, to create a SaaS business, it's very hard. It's you need months and months of development. You also need to be a great developer or have several developers who you work with. And depending on the solution that you build, it takes a lot of time. Nowadays, there are quite a few no-code tools that you can also use for that. But let's say, in general, if you develop a product that takes a long time and it's difficult. Now, then you get your first users. Usually they don't like your first version, so you need to rebuild and iterate and all that. So all that takes a lot of time. So this is the explanation why for billions, if not trillions of processes, we have no ready-to-use SaaS tool, right? So we do have some very standard, let's say, LinkedIn bots who may just send connection requests. But if you want to have something very specific for your process, you usually need to do it in some other ways. There will be no ready-to-use SaaS tool for that, right? So let's say if you don't want to just directly send connection requests, but you want to actually first qualify, and then you want to qualify these leads according to your specific criteria. Now, I'm not aware of a tool that can do that. I'm not aware of a ready-to-use SaaS tool that can do that. So what is your alternative? You can go and learn how to use a no-code tool and build it. There are quite a lot of no-code tools for automation. So you can even, Zapier. Well, probably you cannot do exactly that with Zapier, but maybe if you are creative with, maybe you first scrape, then get Google Sheet. And so that may work out, but it's still difficult and it's a long process. And even that is requires maintenance. Even that requires, something will break, you will need to fix it. So all that process is just, it's not scalable, and also not many people have time to invest into that learning curve. And also many people don't feel motivated to do that. Even though, for example, even our product is a no-code tool, and I could, in theory, automate all the processes that I have, but I also don't do that because I just, let's say, automating some accounting process, not something I feel motivated to sit down for 4 or 5 hours and build that workflow for myself, just as an example, right? And what I'm trying to say was that, so this kind of understanding of it is sort of a two-dimensional, right? So either you have a ready-to-use SaaS, or you build it yourself. So there's a certain, in-between gap that is still existing. So for those who do not want to learn how to use a no-code tool, or there is no ready-to-use SaaS tool for the process that you're trying to automate, what do? Usually go and hire an agency, right, to build it for you, or a freelancer or something like that. But the problem there is that here we come back to our product mindset, because if someone is building a workflow for you, they're not going to have product mindset. It's not because they haven't yet the chance to cultivate it. Let's say if someone hires me to build a workflow for them, I'm also not going to apply much of my product mindset, because it's a paid service, and once it's done, it's done. Why would in a way, just to exaggerate, why would I invest my time into understanding additional needs if I know that this is a workflow for just this one client? I won't be able to replicate it on anyone else. But once you have that mindset of the provider, who's not just going to build a workflow for you, but actually they're going to improve, iterate, they're going to maintain it. So if something breaks, you don't need to, bug that agency. Hey, you built that workflow for me, now it's broken. When can you fix it? They give you a quote. No, that's too expensive. It was your fault in the first place. So all of that,
Yes.
all of that is not existent, right, with SaaS. And so my question was, how can I apply all of the standard processes to close this gap of someone who is about to hire an agency, but how can I make this agency have the product mindsets to create something replicable and something that they can have this kind of recurring revenue to motivate them to maintain and to cultivate that product mindset?
That is exactly it. So, all right, Mischief Makers, I got to tell you, that is what's blowing my mind. So think about it. You can, as a chatbot builder, I have monthly recurring revenue with my clients because I am quasi product mindset in that sense, but only for one client. And then that one client, let's say my webinar chatbot, I did this exact process with the webinar chatbot. It's the exact same process that I would use on every single client, but I would still have to go in and iterate that product to match that particular client. Maybe there are different things. They have a different number of days that they would offer their webinar. So I would have to add flows to accommodate those days, or remove flows because they have less days, and all these specific things. So it still took a lot of time, and it was high ticket for a small number of clients. Well, now in this process, I can look at an actual process, not necessarily where I'm going to actually have conversations back and forth, although there are task bots that can do that as well, where there are certain, they're going to like certain posts or comment on certain things. That can be automated now to a certain extent. And then, connection requests, all of these kinds of processes that you think about, that you go through to try and either find your ideal clients or prospects, to connect with people, to get data and qualify and see if these are people that you might want to start building relationships with. That is something you could build a process for and offer to multiple people at a lower price point. So it's similar to my webinar chatbot, but it's an actual process that anyone can use. I don't have to duplicate it and have it on their accounts and all those things like I did with my chatbots. It is one process. They subscribe, enter their qualification information, their parameters for their specific need, and they keep the data, and I have the SaaS. It's incredible. You want to talk about innovation. That is innovation. The ability, Deanna has given the ability to us, who I am not a coder, I am in no way a software developer, to be able to create my own SaaS business, my own mini SaaS business. And I can solve multiple problems in many different ways with this no-code tool. So that is flippin' amazing innovation. I'm telling you. Yeah, as you can tell, now you can see why my mind is blown and why I'm so happy that Deanna and I connected, because now I can do incredible things.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. For example, MK, you are the exact example for someone who has the product mindset, but may not have the right, let's say, tooling to enable it. Because with your webinar clients, it's still, it's, as you say, it's sort of in between, right? So the process and this you already know, this is in a way already productized to a certain degree, but you're still not able to harvest 100% 100% SaaS benefit out of it, because duplicating this chatbot automation onto every client means if you need to fix something, you've got to log into every client's account, or you've got to tell all of them, hey, you need to fix this and this. Now imagine, well, you don't need to imagine, you already know it, you already have your own taskbots on the marketplace. But for those taskbots, as you know, if one user tells you, hey, this is not working, you look at it, you fix it, and it's fixed for all of your hundreds users. And not only that, if you make some improvements and your users are excited about them, then they recommend your taskbot to other users, and all of them can just subscribe completely autonomously on their own. You don't need to explain to them anything here. You need to open an account there. You need to duplicate something. This is how you use it. All of that is kind of taken care of because of this SaaS model.
Okay, hold on. If your mindset was shifted, you were inspired to innovate, and you were spurred into action, don't just move on with your day. Focus, my friend, and take a few minutes to visit CEOmischiefmaker.com to learn more about the value that was shared with you today. Please act now and create some CEO mischief of your own.